1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes with Wesley.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of 5 Minutes with Wesley. And I'm so excited to have this amazing queer artist sitting in front of me. Welcome to the show, Kevvie.
Hi, it's me, Kevvie.
Yeah,
Yay, thanks for having me.
no, it's so great to have you. This is weird times, and you know what? Technology is pretty amazing that we get to sit and be in our own house and have this interview. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you doing anything exciting right now with your art or your drag or with COVID-19 and being in your apartment?
Yeah, well, fortunately, with all this COVID shit going on, drag has gone digital.
What's
So
that?
I've been able to, people are doing digital drag shows where they're streaming it on Twitch or YouTube or Instagram. And the same kind of setup where you have like a host and then a bunch of queens performing, they just send in pre-recorded videos. And you
Yeah.
get to watch a couple hours of drag from home.
Oh, yeah. My partner and I watched a few shows, and we've been supporting queens through Venmo and CashApp and stuff like that. But how has it been recording footage in your space to give to your fans to see you perform?
It's been pretty good. I'm making good use of the space and trying to make it look the most presentable. Yeah, and so those digital drag shows have been fun, and I've also been working a lot more on my YouTube channel and getting into doing more Let's Plays, which I've always enjoyed watching, and I'm having a lot of fun making too.
Awesome, awesome. So let's just dig on in and get to know you a little bit better because this is all about you today. And I don't know your age. What is your age?
Oh, good question.
Do you need a calendar?
26.
26 years young. And when did you start performing as your character?
Yes. So I first started drag in 2014. When I started, I was at college in Indiana, and there wasn't really a place to perform. So I guess I started out as like a baby bedroom queen, but then eventually I was able to convince our school to put on a drag show, and I couldn't even believe that was happening. It was a fucking conservative Lutheran university hosting a drag show, and it was mostly students who were mostly terrible, and then me, and I was great.
Drag, you came out and you were just amazing.
Yes. Oh, it was so good, and it was
Yeah.
that very first show was an audience of over 200 people. So like, what a great way to start.
That is a great way to start. A lot of times, queer performers, they say like their first time it was Halloween. That's like probably the staple way because Halloween gives us permission. Because my true first time in drag, half drag was in the 4th grade, but full drag was in the 7th grade. Um, um, Doing Halloween trick or treat. I did it with a tube skirt and 2 pairs of tube socks, and I walked down the street as this, and I don't think they were ready for it.
No. And yeah, speaking of half drag, I my drag started April 1st for that show. I actually went viral in high school for a sort of cross-dressing video I made. I I I had the idea to record a lip sync video to the Lady Gaga song Christmas Tree and dressed up in a sexy elf costume and was very salacious. And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. In the 12 days it was online, it got over 2,000 views.
Well, I mean, there are 12 days of Christmas, so
Hmm.
there you go. So you say 2014 was when you dipped your foot into the pool of the drag performing art of drag. When did you know that you were trans? Not and let me rephrase the question, not when you identified as trans, when did you know you were trans? When did you know you were queer?
Yes. So I was very ignorant to my transness growing up. Like, I always felt like I wanted to be a girl, but I didn't understand those thoughts or feelings or what that meant. But there's a very vivid moment when I realized, oh, I'm trans. It was like a big light bulb. I was in in college at my university in Valpo, and we were reading Virginia Woolf. And our professor one day decides to do a little class exercise and have all the men sit on one side of the room and all the women on the other side of the room. And then he gave each of the men a napkin and some chocolate, and the women a tissue with saltines. And surprisingly, or not surprisingly, the guys started like the conversation. They immediately were talking so entitled and like, oh yeah, we deserve to have this stuff. Like, and
Mhm.
I felt so disgusted being on that side of the room. I was like, I do not belong with these people here. I should be sitting with the women over there because like that is the side I'm on and who I agree with. And then I was like, oh fuck, guess I'm trans now.
I love it. A light bulb goes off, and it's a purple light now. I Yeah, I think that's fabulous, and not everyone can find that moment where it was like the transformation moment where you realize the realization, and I think it's very good that you can find that, because when you are doubting yourself or you're in a bad place, you can put yourself right back on that side of the room with that chocolate and that napkin in your hand and realize what you've worked on to go to the other side. And I think it's good to have that realization. That's really nice.
Yeah. And then so that day, like immediately after class, I went home, well, I went back to my dorm and bought the Becoming Chaz documentary. Was like, I need to go learn about my people. And because I am such a huge Cher fanatic, like that was the trans person I was most aware of. And watching his documentary was so pivotal in my coming out process because, like I said, I idolized Cher. I was able to, through her, get into the mindset of a parent of a trans person. And I was able to see how hard it was for her at first and how she really didn't understand it and was confused and hurt by it. But over time, she was able to become more understanding and comfortable and affirming of it. And after watching that so many fucking times, I was really able to internalize that and prepare myself for when I came out. So when I did come out to my parents and the reaction wasn't the best, I wasn't distraught or heartbroken or like freaked out or anything. I knew I just needed to give them patience and time, and they would come around. So yeah, that share really saved me a lot of pain.
I think as queer people, you know, we all have these stories of coming out. Even if you're still in the closet, you've come out to yourself if you're in the closet. And I think we all have these stories, and we all have these stories of how our parents reacted. My partner came out while we were dating, and his family reacted amazingly positive.
Yeah.
And I found myself jealous that he got to have this royal reception of, oh, we have a gay son, hallelujah. And I had a totally different story. But I love that you said to give your parents time and like be patient with them, because what I learned looking back on that experience is that my parents, it was a change and they had to make an adjustment. And I needed to give them time to process and get the information in, process it to spit it back out. And that took a long time. So thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that.
Yeah.
You know, and so you were on Camp Wanakiki, which is, if you don't know, is this YouTube based show that is a drag competition, very similar to other drag competitions, but it supports and features camp drag queens. If you don't know what camp drag is, it's, you know, it's the silly, it's the expanding on the humor of drag. So it's actually what drag kind of started as, is, you know, over exaggerating features of your body to be this campier version of self. So I want to talk a little bit about this because we both know that there are drag shows that are not so friendly with trans people. And how was your experience with Camp Wanakiki and being trans on Camp Wanakiki?
It was really good. I was really excited when I got the call to be on this show. It was totally out of the blue. There were no auditions or anything for season 1. They just invited you. And so I was in class at USC, and I get a message from my friend Mark from Feast of Fun, and he's like, oh, by the way, Ashley from Hamburger Mary's might be reaching out to you about a project. That's all I can say. And then 10 minutes later, I get the message from Ashley like, hey, Kevvie, can I talk to you about something? And I'm like, yeah, when I get out of class, let's talk. And then I get on the phone with her, and she's like, hey, we're doing this show, and it's going to be Camp Drag Queens at a summer camp. You in? I was like, yeah, let's do it. And it's so cool to me that, I mean, I don't know if they knew I was trans, because like Ashley hadn't really followed me all that closely before casting me, but the fact that it didn't matter, like it wasn't a prerequisite or a gatekeeping, like I was welcome whether or not I was trans, and I was really embraced for it during the season and during filming. And as it was airing, I remember Alexis Bevels just talking to me about how proud she was that I was part of the show, and like how significant that was for the trans community, because so many shows like Drag Race refuse to cast us.
Yeah. If they know, there have been several people that have gone on Drag Race and came out as trans, but they didn't apply as a trans person. So I think there's a lot of work to do there. And you know, Dragula has done some amazing things as well with, I feel like Camp Wanakiki season 2 really just kind of did a big wave at all those shows and said, here, step it
Oh
up.
yeah. Yeah, season 2 really stepped it up, and
Because
that
they interviewed, when they did, gosh, what was her name on season 2? Trans male.
Claire apparently.
Claire, apparently, when they introduced Claire, apparently, and they explained it, we paused the show because my partner and I, we had to process what we just heard. Because I was like, okay, trans man presenting as drag queen, and we're processing it all. And then we were like, this is amazing that this person has, but I found a little issues in some of it because they were getting, and that's a part that I struggle with is, and I guess when Claire is presenting as Claire, we can say she, but when he is presenting as his not character self, then we can say he. But she, Claire, as performer, was presenting often with hairy legs, and they criticized it multiple times. And I just couldn't get, I couldn't wrap around, like, why would you criticize someone's identity, something that they're so proud of? And so that was, to me, we still have work to do in all of these elements. I think you can send the invitation to trans artists, but if you're not doing the work to include trans artists, then we've got to do more. We've got to do more.
Yeah. Yeah, I first met Claire. We were on a trans drag panel together at Austin Drag Fest. And so when I found out she was cast, I was ecstatic. And oh, I'm so proud of her time on there. And yeah, she's,
you know, and I want to clarify, like, I am a super
clarified.
fan of, yeah, clarify, you're welcome, Claire. Apparently I'm a super huge drag fan and a super huge Camp Wanakiki fan. And I want to say that that wasn't a criticism of a negative criticism. Every element of our world has growth to do. And season 2 was huge growth for the drag community. But it did show me that the growth never stops. You always can look back and identify what you could have done better. And, you know, try to find better ways to speak to people, to include all people. Yes.
Right. Yeah, they made a lot of progress, but there's still a lot of work to do.
Amen. And so you are this fabulous, sickening trans performer slash model slash historian. So let's talk a little bit about Kevvie plus size trans model. Like, what does it mean to be plus size, trans, queer, model, all in the same sentence?
Oh my gosh, it's so much. But no, so I never in my life would have imagined that someone who looked like me could have been a model. And for the longest time, I've really, really struggled with my body and just hated it so much. But then as I was performing, one day I got the idea to try showing off my skin a little bit in a look. I was like, if Lucy Stool can do it, then maybe I can do it too. And I went to this gig. I was super self-conscious, but I looked great and it was well received. And pretty soon it became my whole brand. And like, by taking off my clothes and showing off my body more, I became a lot more confident and comfortable in my skin. And I mean, that's the whole reason I did it in the first place, is that I may be uncomfortable, but so many other people are as well, because they don't have representations of themselves to look at. So I need to be that change, and I need to put myself out there like that so people can see fat, queer, trans bodies and normalize them and accept them. And then they can more easily accept themselves.
Yeah, at the beginning of that, you said you never thought you could say that you were a model or see yourself as a model. What is your definition of model?
Well, I get to be part of fashion shows and fancy photo shoots, celebrating like queer designers and being in magazines. I am just rocking it.
I think that we have a very polluted definition of model, because model simply means to demonstrate. When you model something, you demonstrate it, and you are demonstrating to people that look like you what fashion is, what confidence is, what all of these great things are, and you are such a powerful voice for people that look like you. And if people that look like you don't have a person to look up to or to see modeled behavior, then it's a shame. And what you said, like magazines and everything, you open them and obviously you see it. It's mostly cis white people that are a size 2 or below. And I was looking at your Facebook pictures and some of your promo shots, and I noticed, and I asked you in the pre-interview, but I noticed that there's like some rainbow action going on your stomach that looks like stretch marks. And I thought you like went in and detailed, put some eyeshadow on all your stretch marks, but you told me that you actually had them tattooed. So tell me,
I did.
like, what was that about?
Yeah, so as part of my whole body positive movement and mission, I understood that a lot of people feel shame and disgust about their stretch marks. And I was like, what can I do so that people can change their perception of stretch marks? And like I'd seen like an Instagram post here or there where somebody had like painted on them, and I was like, that's cool. What if I take that a step further and make it permanent? Yeah, and so now when people see my stretch marks, it's not just scars, it is a thing of beauty. It's undeniably beautiful. So it creates this cognitive dissonance for people where they have to like learn that stretch marks can be beautiful now.
Yeah, in one of the pictures, it was kind of like, you know, Ursula Seabitch. And it you were very strategic about the colors that you chose for your stretch marks, because they're very much watercolor, like rainbow effect. But it almost looked like it was part of that costume. And that's why I thought it was painted on, because I think you were very clever in your color choices and the watercolor effect, or however it's done, because almost any costume is going to look like there's pieces of it that connect to the color of the costume. So it really does look intentional, and it was intentional. Yeah. And so many larger people spend their whole life trying to figure out how to conceal that. I think it's in Frozen where Elsa says, "Conceal, don't feel." And I think that is a line that queer people use often, because we try to hide everything. But I think stretch marks are actually on the surface, they're outside, and so many larger people spend their whole life trying to figure out how not to let anyone see that. It even comes up in intimacy with partners, of like having sex in the dark, or not allowing their partner to touch that area of their body. So I think it's so powerful to see you go, no, this is who I am, this is my brand, this is my identity, and I am going to show it to you. And I think it's brave, and I think it is 100% what a model is supposed to do, is to model positivity, to body positivity, confidence body positivity. And I think people are looking at you and feeling empowered by you. So thank you for doing that. I think it's vital.
You.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then recently I've been starting to shift my own narrative a bit, just because I've for such a long time, like I claimed the body positive label, but I'm not doing so as much lately because I've found that the body positive movement has been taken over and hijacked by all these skinny or conventionally attractive people who think that them taking their shirt off is something that needs to be celebrated just as much as someone like me taking their shirt off. Like, just the body positive movement was meant to celebrate marginalized bodies, and that's no longer what it is. So now I am more into the fat liberation movement, because there's no denying that that is about fat people.
Yeah, and you know, I think with every enhancement and everything that makes us different in our lives, there's going to be levels of everything, because there are skinny people that think they're fat, and there are really fat people that think they're skinny, and it's all about what you think you are and what is in your mind and your perception. But I definitely hear that it's sometimes you just need to be seen as who you are, and don't need other people telling you how you should feel and how your story should be told, when they are not the same. They have this privilege of being able to go in a department store and getting something off the hanger and walking out. They should pay first. They definitely should pay first.
Yeah, and like
Feeling.
they have access to healthcare that I don't. I have plenty of medical issues, but because I am fat, medical professionals only see my fatness and don't consider that maybe there are underlying issues. So I have to struggle with all of these like physical issues with my body that like doctors just refuse to pay attention to just because I'm fat.
Mm, mm. I can't relate to that, but I'm sorry that you have to go through that. Because I'm sure it's the first topic that comes up when you go to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's unfortunate. As a person, I lost weight when I was 23, but not significant. I lost 50 pounds. But as a person that is short and thick, when I go to the doctor and that chart is sitting there, the obese chart, and I actually am in the red with my height and weight, I can't imagine what it feels like, someone like you, that the chart doesn't even really support you.
Oh
So
yeah, like when last year, for example, I went to a back specialist to try to get answers about what is wrong with my back, because there are some severe issues there. I know certainly from previous visits that I have at least 2 bulging or slit discs. And the last time the past couple of years has gotten significantly more painful and harder to exist. And so I went to the doctor to try to get it more pinned down and work on it. And the doctor straight up said he would not treat me unless I had bariatric surgery first.
It is disgusting. It's discrimination. It is so many things, and our healthcare system in this country is destroyed. And I'm really sorry that you have to go through that. And the fact that you can turn all of that, like you got all this mud and you can turn it into a diamond. I am so thankful to see that from you, because I don't know, some of the best artists have the most pain in their life. And I think the best art comes from oppression. And so to see a person that has been through so much, that has had to jump through all of these hurdles to get to where you are, and you're still proud to show your body, to show your heart, and expose everything about you. That way other people can learn from your story. Amazing, amazing. And you know, it, for the first episode of this new series that I'm doing with 5 Minutes of Wesley, it is an honor to have you as the first guest. And I'm so thrilled to have you here. And I hope that people, when they listen to this, that they can hear your sincerity, and they can hear your love and your compassion and your empathy and all of the things that make you a beautiful human, because I met all of those things today. And I hope that it comes through in the video. And thrilled to get to know you a little bit better. And do you have anything else that you want to add? I will put your Venmo, Cash App on the video. That way, if anybody wants to support you through your journey, they can. Yes, because you know, artists are really struggling right now. There's no income for artists. And so, you know, if you can throw a couple quarters, you know, we call that making it hailstorm. You throw quarters at people. I know you got to do laundry, girl.
Oh my gosh, I do. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll put all that in the caption of the video. And again, thank you. Is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, check out my YouTube channel. I make lots of weird videos that make people uncomfortable, but also they're funny.
We're gonna put in the video link, we're gonna put everything you in the video link. People will be able to go to YouTube, Facebook, all of those things, support you, and hopefully they'll become fans of you. And again, thank you so much for being here. And to all of you out there, thank you for listening and watching another episode of 5 Minutes with Wesley. Yeah.
Yay.